Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is your host, Jania Butler, for the New American Perspective. And we are here today. What a week. Where are you tuning in from? Where are you from around the world? This is your New American Perspective because we are new Americans. Okay, so we know right off the bat where we're going. Puff Daddy, Diddy, not guilty on 3 counts of the RICO trial that we've heard for the last 37 days. Not guilty on 3 counts, 2 counts guilty on prostitution. So he beat the RICO charge, okay? So that was the big charge that was going to give him life in prison. He beat the RICO charge, okay? He beat the prostitution and violence and all of those charges, right? And then, but they found him guilty on transporting people out for the sake of prostitution. So there's a lot that's going into this. First, they're trying to figure out, is Diddy going home today? His family already said that they're ready to post $1 million bond to get him home today. Now they're saying, well, why should we keep him? Because the reason why that the prosecution had argued to keep him before was because he was violent. Now he gets out not guilty. They're saying, Judge, what's up? What's the deal, Judge? Is he going home today? So I think that we will see Diddy in a few hours, maybe leaving the courtroom. He's got 4 hours to go. Everybody's standing around waiting. I think Diddy is going to be walking out that door because, again, the major counts of the RICO charge, the jury said that they're not with it. Now, how do I feel about it? You know, I was thinking the other day, I said, how do you really feel about these charges, right? What are you really going through? How do you feel? I don't want to see a black man going to jail. Okay, that's one thing. I don't want to see a black man go to jail. Do I like the things that Diddy was doing? No. Do I think that women need to be more vocal about how we feel and not following behind a man and not doing stuff for a man and then turning around and saying, hey, I never liked that from the beginning? Yes. I do, because now the lines are blurred, right? So Cassie was saying, I never wanted any of this. But then they got on the phone calling people up, and saying, hey, you want to come over tonight for that freak off? So I don't know. But what I do know is that in the court of law, Diddy, this is 3 times that he's been in front of the judge with his life in their hands. He beat it. I'm giving him the Teflon Don. I'm giving him the Teflon Don. Now, how do you feel about it? Tap in, tune in, and let me know how you feel in the comments. At me, at Jania Butler. Let me know how you feel so we could talk about this. Okay? Then, his family is all excited. We've seen the girls, being very upset. And maybe that was theatrics. Maybe they knew the whole time that Diddy was going to get these small charges. No, they didn't, because the 12 jurors, they had us on edge. They thought yesterday they delivered and they said, listen, we got four of the 5 counts were partially verdict. We're deadlocked on number 1 is the RICO. Right. And so they came back and they said, well, look, he was prostitution. He was taking people across state lines. We don't believe in the kidnapping, the coercion, and all of that. We don't believe in any of that, but we believe that he was taking prostitutes across state lines. And so, what is that going to be? He's already been almost a year in jail, about 9 months. He's already been there. How much time is the judge going to give him for this prostitution? What we know is he's not going to get 30 years. So what we know is that we're going to see the diddler again. So the one thing that I loved about this, I think everybody's reporting about not guilty, Diddy. But what impressed me, and it impressed me, And I think that we're going to see a new Diddy when he comes out. Love is going to be more lovable when he comes out, because they said Diddy was on his knees praying. And I think, if anything, that was everything about what we had to be talking about and what we had to be doing. Was on his knees praying. There he is. How are you, sir? This is your co-host, AB Butler, in the house. What's up? It's a
What's
G-Check
up?
day.
How we doing? How we doing out there, people?
It's a G-Check day. It's a G-Check day. I was just getting everybody warmed up, obviously, from the Diddy verdict. We just heard that Puff Daddy, Sean Diddy Combs, has been found not guilty on 3 of the 5 charges that he endured for the last 40 days of trial. And now we're looking to see if Diddy is going to go free today. Check it.
Well, let me say this, to all the people that is on here, this is the biggest G check in the world. The government is the biggest gangsters in the world. Let me start off there. Second of all, they could never get that man a RICO charge, because we know what the RICO charge is. If you don't research it, you know what I mean? It's third of all, they make rules just for us. So right now, the way the process gonna go, if he get out, they're gonna appeal it. When they appeal it, they're gonna beat it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just don't think that they need to retry this case as is. If it was a domestic violence case, Cassie got away with the most. She got $30 million, and she saved her man from going to jail by not, first of all, by not bringing this forward when it was before the statute of limitations expired as domestic violence cases that he had. So she knowingly let that go and then brought in the civil trial and gave him a little hell. And I think it was worth it for what he did to those women. I think that women, we have to regroup now and figure out how we want to present ourselves going forward, because this is not it. People basically the jury called by acquitting him on the 3 charges that they did. They're basically calling Cassie and Jane Doe, who we know to be 50 Cent's baby's mother, prostitutes.
It might have been it might have been my cousin Chris baby's wife. She could have been Jane Doe, because she was a part of the freak off.
Oh. Well, that's an allegation. We don't know about that, but we're gonna go. We heard you.
Okay.
We heard you. But
okay.
Yeah, so I just want to say to young women, who are going after a goal, look what could happen, right? You're put in these situations, you choose to say yes, and then a court of 12 people will tell you that you wanted to have sex with 3 men in a night, and that it was perfectly okay for a man telling other people to pee in your mouth, and you opening up your mouth. But when you open up your mouth to take the pee,
see, let me G check that right there, right? At the end of the day, and everybody here around the world, and everybody here in America, only thing you gotta do is look what's going on. You know what I mean? So you want to charge Sean, aka Puff Daddy, for all these charges. Why y'all not charging Facebook, Instagram? Because at the end of the day, let's say this. Every time you turn around, this is what these girls is doing, setting it out. It's not hard, you know what I mean? And if you look at Instagram, the way they showing their whole body parts, they want it. But the catch to it, the catch is, let me, one of your girlfriends, in your ear. Oh, he doing this, he doing that, he doing that. But he dealing with this other girl now doing the same thing. Put him for charges. And that's what it is. You know what I mean? Brothers out there. Because a young lady look incredible, she got, I call them the bionic woman these days. Back in the days, I used to call the young ladies that used to be in a club with the mink, I used to call them rented minks. All these young ladies now that going to get their body, the $6 million body, you know what I mean? Y'all caught up on that plastic and all them chemicals they shoot in these bodies, but they tricking y'all every time. It's not. Only thing y'all got to do, most of y'all artists out here getting money, be careful when they come with the long hair, the lipstick, and the eyelashes blinking at you. Be careful that that's just a setup. That's just like a cat throwing heat out to the other cat or dog and they sniff it. They got to go chase it. Be careful out here because look, sometimes take time out and learn from other people's mistakes. Mike Tyson, if he probably would have walked homegirl downstairs, she wouldn't have let her girlfriend chew her ear up and got that man all that time. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
So I'm not blaming how y'all women move, but a lot of y'all go to school for tricking and trapping these dudes out here that really never been that dude. And that's a G check.
I'll give you that G check, but I think that, there's a miscommunication when it comes to a lot of these women. I believe that,
Yeah.
thirst trap out there, on Instagram and Facebook, and the girls are trying to catch themselves, the $1 million man and things of that nature. They're trying to do that. I'm not going against that, but I just think that when somebody is giving you drugs, right, popping pills in your mouth, giving you drugs again. What I said earlier is, and I've said and I've contended this whole time that they are stripping Puffy butt naked. Now Puffy is standing in the middle of the street. When he walks out, he'll be butt naked, but he's also free. He's free from all the demons that he's had within himself as well. So I think,
Well, let me G check this, guys.
let me just say this. I think that before, when Puffy comes out, we're going to see a greater man. We're going to see the love Puff that we've never seen before. And I think this is a life-changing situation for him. And I'm hoping that the women see that too.
But let me give you a G check on that, right? It changed because he had enough time to sit in that cell, that box, and think about a lot of things. A lot of things. It ain't nobody there to say, "Oh, Diddy, yo, Puff, I could do this, I could do that." He was in the cell by himself because I know. So he had plenty of time to clean his body out from all the chemicals that he'd been putting in there. Now, second of all, he got a chance to see what it is, getting everything snatched from you. You know what I mean? No water bed, no soft bed, whatever. You on a hard concrete bed, really. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you can't call everybody you want at the moment. It don't matter because you locked up or you free. You got to remember this. You got to always remember these phones don't matter you in jail or in the free world. They all still monetize. Remember that. And then another thing is you got to be careful because all the trap artists gonna come around. And when I say the trap artists, the trap people gonna act like they your best friend. Oh, I'm glad, you know what I mean? Learn from your mistakes, bro. And I've been trying to tell him this a long time ago, B.
So we're gonna take a break right quick here on Millennium News 24 with the New American Perspective,
That's
Jania
the
Butler,
G-check.
AB Butler with the G-check in the house, and we're talking about Puff Daddy. So we're gonna come right back and we'll talk. We'll give you all the news of the rest of the stuff going on around the country. We'll be right back here on Millennium News 24. And we are back. And I was here having a debate in my live audience about, women and the things that the people are going through. Men, what I saw in this case, we're talking about the Puff Daddy case, and him being 3 counts. He's not guilty on 3 counts, guilty on 2 counts of prostitution, not guilty on the RICO, which the government set out to get him. The Fed charges that they kind of hyped up. I've always said that they were going after the black man, but I've always said too, don't give them something to go after, black man. That's the one thing. And, maybe Diddy's, sexual dysfunction is something that is in his bedroom, but they ruled and they said not guilty on the 3 charges. So he will not be spending life in prison. He may not be spending a night until his sentencing, and then he may get time served. So again, my biggest takeaway from this is Diddy got right on his knees and started praying, and that meant that he begged and pleaded with God every single night, and he promised God a lot of things, and I think that's what we're going to see going forward with that. But yes, a lot of women, I'm hurt for the women because I heard a lot of men saying she wanted it. And it's not that. We want the man, not the action. And I think that we have to, ladies, carry ourselves in a different way. And sometimes you can't get the man. Sometimes, like, AB is talking about, you can't set the man up with a little tease and think that he's not going to want the full package. You can't do that, ladies. And that's a G-check. And so we've got to get that part right too, because I'm hurt that those women went in there and told that story and they came out prostitutes. They came out prostitutes. They are prostitutes, and they wanted everything that was given to them because they sided with Diddy. But I just feel as though that we've got more work to do in our community. Congratulations to Puff Daddy and the family. Congratulations to our friend Charlucci, who has been down for Diddy from the beginning, and for all the people, who turned on him or kept a quiet ear. Shout out to Kanye West for stepping in for his man. There's a few people that said, Diddy is going to beat this, and here we are. So this is where we are. And so before we go on to our next, do you have anything else, Dr. Butler?
Well, let me say this. I'm glad it played out the way it played out. And I think we need to realize, we need to understand that we keep getting targeted. We are a big bullseye. We a target. It don't matter how much money you got, no matter how powerful you are, you're a target. And always think, because you got that money and you that person, somebody gonna always bring you down. Young mans out there, be careful of these trappers. These trappers is these females. You see them every day. Every day.
Well,
Open your eyes. That's a
and that's
G
a
check.
G check, right? And 100%. And so, well, again, congratulations to Puff Daddy and the family. No arguments from me. I don't, push. Oh, he should have been in jail. I think that the prosecution argued their case. I think they proved their case. I think the defense, he had a $30 million defense team with 8 of the best lawyers in the country, and that's what they're supposed to come in and do, and now they're just opening the door for, more huge cases for them to win and bring in that big money. So congratulations to them too. So the big, beautiful bill, that's the next big thing on our roster, the big, beautiful bill. Now, if you don't know, the big, beautiful bill is Trump's main this is what he's playing with right now, the big, beautiful bill. And basically, it's a tax bill that does a lot of things. And so all of the Democrats, every one of the Democrats have voted against the bill in the House and in the Senate, okay? But since the Senate has control of the whole House, since the Republicans have control of the whole House, they get to basically make the deals that they want to make. And so this is why people must vote. If you don't want to see some lopsided work like we're seeing right now, Democrats can't say anything. Democrats can't save you. You know why? Because they don't have enough seats in both the House and in the Senate to block bills like this. Now, the problem with this big, beautiful bill is they're saying 11.7 million people are going to get knocked off of Medicaid if this bill passes. So there's Medicaid cuts, there's cuts to food stamps, there's a big tax break, the 2017 tax break that Trump originally brought in. They're getting a big tax break on that 2017. So now the billionaires are getting their tax break that they wanted under Trump. No tax on tips. You get a car, there's tax incentives for buying a car. So there's some stuff in there, but a lot of people are just saying that a lot of people are going to lose their health insurance, and working people are going to lose food stamps, and that this is not the big, beautiful bill that we want. And then they also say that we're going to be $3.3 trillion. Now, that $3.3 trillion means $1 million a day for 9,000 years.
So let me ask you something. Is that beautiful bill, they took the congestion price off?
No. So it doesn't have anything to do with New York. New York, which is a Democratic town, is not able to really get stuff into the bill. So no, Trump, Trump supports taking out the congestion pricing. So I'm sure that we'll get to that part. But right now, it's just big, beautiful bill. It's just Trump. And so now what the House did. Okay, so let me give you guys a little breakdown of how it works. The House, which is your congressperson, which is your Andrea Ocasio-Cortez, which is your Jonathan Jackson, which is your congressperson in your area, right? There's 430, I believe 400 and maybe 38 congress people across the country, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now with what they do is they actually plan, they actually make the plans. They come up with the bills, right? So they say, okay, look, we want all of this in the bill, and then we want everybody else in Congress to sign it. when they get enough numbers for the bill, right? So there's 400 of them. They need half or they need 3/4 for it to pass and for it to go into the House, which is the Senate. Now, each state has 2 senators. Every state you're in, you have 2 senators, 2 U.S. senators, and then you have state senators. So other people that just, that piece. So you have your state senators. But now, so your 2 U.S. senators that represent your state are now saying, we're going to pass this into law. Now, that's what just happened today. They changed it a little bit so that to send it back to the House, they said, well, okay, we like this about your bill, but we want to change this about the bill. So they sent it back to the House. Now they're trying to figure out if the House is going to say, okay, send it back to the Senate and then send it to President Trump for signing, and then it's in action. But everybody has to go through that process. So now it's all Republican, though. J.D. Vance, which is the vice president, he was the deciding factor. It was 50-50. And it was the deciding factor because when you pass a bill, you got to have both Republicans and Democrats. Well, no, not really. But it was 50-50. J.D. Vance cast the deciding vote, 50 yay, 50 nay. J.D. Vance cast the deciding vote against for the bill, and now the bill is going back. So now Elon Musk, okay, our guy Elon Musk has
he's back.
He's back. He's back. He has popped back out, and you can imagine what he's saying now, right? So Elon Musk popped back out, and he said, anybody who voted to put that bill into office, into effect, I am going against them. He gave them the ultimate G check, and he said, listen, anybody that's signing on to that bill, I'm running somebody against you, and until the day I die, I'm going to get you back for this, because Elon lost his electric car vehicle mandate, the EV mandate. So he's pissed, right? Because it benefited his company, Tesla. So he was getting $7,500, right, per car, right? So they're getting a tax rebate. So they're like taking the tax rebate, $7,500 per car for you to get a Tesla cash back. That's pretty good. And the Teslas, and that's why we seen everybody riding around in Teslas, right? So Elon said, ultimate G check, I'm back out here. And then they said, President Trump said, well, we'll consider deporting Elon, and we'll consider using Doge against Elon, giving him the ultimate G check. He said, we'll consider using Doge against Elon, the company that Elon created, to take some of his money back. What's the G check there?
That's like I said earlier, a G check. Why we call it a G check? Because we the gang. The governor is a G.
Yes.
Gangster is a G.
Right.
So, and a G is going. So at the end of the day, it's G check all the way.
5 checks, and everybody is getting checked. And let me just say, before we go to our next break, let me just say a couple things that are in that bill. Okay, so there's no tax on tips, right? Overtime or car loans. Okay. It rolls back the energy incentives. So when we're talking about AOC and we're talking about the Green New Deal, all that's out of here. But what we got to realize is that when we talk about the energy incentives, they're really talking about oil. They're really talking about gas, right? They're really talking about the people not using the fossil fuel, right? Versus people finding other ways to use it. So, but what happens to all the people in this country who do oil? Okay. Shout out to Stephen Hightower on that, in oil. And the Musk mandates, I call them the Musk mandates, the EV mandates, it rolls them back. And then new tax on renewable energy, right? So that's like solar and everything like that. And then more money for defense spending and more funding for ICE immigration, right? So they're big. They wanted big immigration on this. So ICE has got more money to go round up the 3,000 people they want per year. So we're going to take a break really quick. We're going to come back with more on the New American Perspective and your weekly G Check here on Millennium News 24. And we'll be right back.
Be right back.
Hello viewers, you are watching Millennium News 24. America and global villages seemed America independence built by immigrants, manufacturers, roads, highways, educations, healthcare, IT, scientists, space, business development to all thousands of multimedia and all major social media platforms and news network in America. Millennium News 24, one of truthfully news networks in America and global news organizations. Please watch, follow and subscribe. We are in iOS and Android devices, Roku, Amazon, Apple devices, all smart TV, globally Horizon satellite, social media Millennium News 24, Millennium TV 24. Website www.millenniumnews24.com and www.millenniumtv24.com. Thank you.
And we are back. Yes, we are here with the New American Perspective and your weekly G Check here on Millennium News 24. And we've talked about Puff Daddy. We know that Puff Daddy has been found not guilty on 3 of the 5 RICO-related charges. Donald Trump has passed his beautiful bill back to the House to get it re-signed. But let me say before we go get off of that, okay, is that Donald Trump told one of the Republican senators, Tom Tillis, he told him, if you vote against this bill, I'll get somebody to run against you and endorse them on the next election. So Trump means business. He's on the phone calling everybody up, trying to get his big, beautiful bill passed so he can get some numbers in the paint. But there were 3 Republicans who stopped it. Senator Suzanne Collins, Senator Rand Paul has always been a radical, and Tom Tillis, and this lady Senator Lisa Murkowski out of Alaska was the vote, and she got some stuff for Alaska in the bill to get her vote. So she did some stuff for Alaska. So they mean big business on the House. And so while Puffy, I'm wondering that while we're getting the Puffy verdict, we're also getting dealt this big, beautiful bill at the same time. And is this what they're trying to distract us from?
That's a big G check. That's what happened. That's what went down. It's just so weird that both came out at the same time. So we focus on Diddy while the big G is sticking up everybody, telling them what to do. And look what happened. People, you gotta start paying attention to what's going on and take time to sit down and read between the lines.
Right.
Because every time you turn around, they had the Diddy part. Then they had the Kevin Loud part. They had my man Joe. They had this person. They keep throwing us off because we so quick to jump on board because they say they wrong. They wrong. So when is we gonna wake up and say everything they do, they could do. But when we do something, look what happened. So for the Diddy case, for the RICO charge and the trafficking and all the women, what happened to the guy, the old guy, rest in peace, had the Playboy Mansion? He
Well,
had all them young girls
he
traveling.
didn't mess with nobody. He didn't start no trouble on nobody.
Yeah,
So
but
everybody
still,
was
but
good.
it don't matter. You know what I mean? It don't matter. You mess up whatever, but you got to remember, people. You got to remember this. Whenever they could pass something and charge somebody that look like us, that means they not done. And the same thing for the ICE people. Who's behind the ICE? The same people that do us wrong every time. Open your eyes, people. Open your eyes.
Right. That's a good one. That's a good
That's a
one.
G check.
That is an absolute G check. So now Trump, let's stay on Trump really quick. Trump, he was down in Florida yesterday, and what he has the new alligator Alcatraz. Okay. So in the Everglades of Florida, they have put a detention center where they're putting their 3,000 people a day, where they're flying some people in, and they want more of this. Now, Trump joked with reporters and he said, oh, well, at least we've got, more law enforcement here, because the alligators and the pythons will eat them up if they try to jump out and run out here in the Everglades. And so they are ramping up the ICE detention centers and pulling people out of the United States. And so in addition to that, Trump just got another victory with birthright citizenship. So now, if you know, we know birthright citizenship to be that if you come into this country, that you have a baby in this country, this baby becomes a citizen of the United States, right? And so what this has been an age-old thing since the 14th Amendment. Now, this original clause was made for slaves. Okay, so African Americans, it was put in the Constitution under the 14th Amendment to say babies of slaves will automatically become American citizens. Okay, and so now Trump is saying that doesn't apply to everybody. Okay, because everybody else used it as a result of their own selves. And so now Trump is going back to the injunction and saying this was made for descendants of slaves, offspring of slaves. This is not for everybody who comes into this country, decides to have a baby. Now, here's my question to you, cousin. Do you feel that the immigrants that come across this country, come into this country illegally, do you feel that they are abusing this 14th Amendment and this birthright citizenship clause, or that it should be in place? What's the G check?
The G check is, of course, they using it. You know what I mean? Why not? If we somewhere and we got to try to stay there, whatever, we gonna do the same exact thing. You know what I mean? It's the game is the game.
Right. It's a G check.
It's a G check.
And this is true. And so I look at it, I get very mad. I'm a foundational Black American, as you are yourself. And I get very angry at the fact that people are coming into this country under the disguise as birth, we're going to go in there, have babies and things of that nature, and then put it back on us and say, oh, well, you guys are treated bad, don't let them treat us bad too. But we can't even get out of them treating us bad, because we got to go handle everybody else trying to get on the plate too. And so that becomes a problem. It becomes a real issue of things. And I just feel like they are abusing the 14th Amendment. I feel like, I feel for the people who want to come to America, who didn't get the first rounds. I mean, I feel as slaves in America, at the end of the day, but listen, this is 400 years. At the end of the day, we probably got the best deal out of everybody of where they got dropped off. But we're talking about 400 years of struggling, of all these kind of things. And now people want to come jump on our backs and say, well, we want what they got. And so should America give them what we have? Trump says no. Trump says no. Trump says, no, you're not getting this under the Trump administration. We 163 days into the Trump administration, and we're in a new America. What are you saying, cousin?
Gangster. G-check. Because, let me say this, you got people, and it ain't all. Let me say that. Let me correct this.
Sure.
It's not all people, but you got a lot of people come to here, to America, and get that taste of that barbecue, that New Orleans, that Mississippi, that soul food.
Mm-hmm.
Then they turn around and look at us like we nobodies.
True.
We nobodies, you know what I mean? Because we all the same complexion, but y'all look down on the Black Americans, you know what I mean? But it's not all. But you got some that feel that they different than us.
100%. And that's a G check. And that's what's happening, is they think that they can do it better than us. Oh, well, we can come in and we can do it better. And that's what they're trying to do. And I just look at it, when we look at the jobs, what we need to be doing is we need to be looking at the jobs that we are so-called saying that they're taking from us. So if they're taking jobs and you're taking out 3,000 people a day, and these people are working people, then that means 3,000 jobs are open a day, if according to what they're saying. So we need to go ahead and jump into this and get ahead and get our rightful place in America. And that's not to slight anybody else. I would hope that people would root for us as well, and so we can help you in your plight. But let us get to where we need to be.
But if you look at what's going on, they trying to get rid of them, right? Watch this play. This is a G check, a home run out the park. They trying to get rid of all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
We still here. We still go through the BS because of our complexion. That's what they trying to do. Bring the robots in to take the place of everybody they trying to get rid of.
And
that's
a G check. And that's big, because a lot of the work that they're saying that can be done, like a house can be now done, we don't need workers, laborers, because a house can be printed, at this point. So we don't need people building houses, and we don't need this, and we don't need that. So our community needs to get on our job, because we're going to be wiped out too while we're sitting back watching this.
Yeah.
We need to be on our A game. Okay, so let me say this. Let's cut into, before we go to this next break, let's cut into our guy from New Orleans. Derrick Groves is the last man standing. So the last time we reported on this, New Americans out there, Derrick Groves, which was one of the 10 New Orleans escapees, is still on the run. So last week, I think it was Friday, they scooped up Anton Massey, who was he got on video, and he basically showed himself and told himself that he wasn't innocent, and he sent out a video to the police, help me because I'm not supposed to be in there. Well, they caught him. The tips, and somebody's probably getting $50,000 in reward because they got him through the tips. Okay, so be careful out there, people. People are tipping people off for that money. Start saying 50,000, and you standing next to me, homeboy. I don't know. I think you.
And then there's a G check. It could be your family. They don't care. You know what I mean? It could be your best friend. And you gotta remember this, people. When money involved, when they throw money, they flash that piece of paper. Your mama will tell on you.
Yeah.
So, like I say, you got to be careful where you say friends, family, or your enemies. Because you got to
Well,
remember, all of them is the same. You know what I mean? Especially when that paper be flashing. Because
I
they
heard
turn
that
on you
people
quickly.
say, I heard that some people say, trust no one.
Exactly.
How about that? How about that? So we're
And
going
the
to go
guy
to a quick
and the
break.
guy that didn't get caught ain't talking. He's moving. He might have went to DR, got him a butt
He's
done and
somewhere.
new hair, whatever. But
He
at
has
the
a
end of
plan.
the
I
day,
think if we look at it, he probably was the one with the plan because he's the one that, hasn't been seen on the radar.
yeah, well, he might be underground where he supposed to be. You know what I mean? If that's the way, if you planning something sitting in the penitentiary, planning escape, the first rule is don't go to your family member. Don't call none of your family members. They show y'all sit. Listen, y'all sit in prison and look at these movies and say, "Oh, Will Smith in it. Oh, this person in it." No, look at the message. You get where I'm coming from? You can't call anybody that is close to you. You can't call nobody that visits you. You can't call a girl that you met in prison. It don't matter. You got to go underground
Completely.
solo. So before you plan to make the move, whoever you plan to get it and have the money in a certain area, I have enough to move and move the way you need to move, and don't go back to your community because that's the first place they're gonna look. The first place they're gonna look, your mother, your family, your cousin, everybody on your phone list, your business list. Those are the first people they hitting off the top.
Okay, well, let's go to a break and we'll come right back with more on the New American Perspective and your weekly G check here with Jania Butler and AB Butler on Millennium News 24. We will be right back.
Back.
And we are back
Back.
for our last segment of the New American Perspective here with AB Butler and your G check for this week. So again, we know that Puff Daddy has got acquitted on 3 of the 5 counts of his RICO trial that was just up with captivated us for 37 days, the same amount of time Trump passed the big
That
beautiful
beautiful
bill
bill.
saying that we're going to be $3.3 trillion in debt 10 years down the line. So they are saying that they are passing a big debt off to our children. Trump says that is not the case because America will be booming by then. And, so tax incentives. Listen, I'm big on not overtaxing the rich because I work hard to be to be rich and to be in a tax bracket. So maybe I don't make $1 billion today. Okay. Maybe I don't make $1 billion today, but I plan on making $1 billion in my lifetime. And then I'm not trying to turn around and give the community 60-70% after I spent my whole life trying to raise it. Now it's different that money passed around and you need to give and things like that. But I'm just big on not saying tax the rich and give it to the poor, like what's happening in New York City, cousin, because New York City is under, I don't know if we want to say attack. I don't know what we want to say it is, but New York City is under construction because our new mayor will be, I don't say new mayor because it still might be Mayor Adams, but a mayor will be elected in November. Right now, the people are saying the Democratic Socialist Mamdani Zorhan Mamdani is the top front runner. He's got 39% of the polls, and Eric Adam right now has 14%. I don't know that Cuomo is not polling, and Curtis Sewa of the Guardian Angels, the Republican nominee, is also not essential on this poll. And so New Yorkers are going crazy right now, cousin. They don't know what to do with the socialist who wants to give away free stuff. Now, I've had a couple conversations with people, and they like the socialist aspect. Right. So again, let me just tell to the people, the socialists say that wealth needs to be spread equally across the board with the people. Okay.
It should be. It should be.
But
That's
how
a
you
deep
gonna
check.
how you gonna take my wealth, cousin? Okay, and say that what I worked hard for, I gotta give it to you so you're equal to me.
So let me ask you a question. This is a G check, cuz. How
Sure.
about everybody work hard and the ones that do work super hard ain't getting paid? So what about that one, cuz?
Okay, now you have a point. Now, but do you take it from me to give it to the person that's
No, no,
working
no, no,
hard?
no. What I'm saying is it's like the city of New York, the way the greed is, they should have enough to pay everybody correctly. You know what I mean? Affordable houses. It's not affordable houses. It sound good. Listen to what it say.
Right.
Affordable house. It sound good. It's like a song. You keep hearing it. It sound incredible, but you're not getting affordable houses. It sound like you're gonna get like, okay, back in the days you get like a nice 1 bedroom, nice setup, 750. But these days you get a little jail box in a bathroom for 3,000. That don't add up, you know what I mean? It's not affordable. And then on top of that, y'all want to keep raising everything, and you turn around, they don't raise nothing up for us. So how's it even? You know what I mean? So where is y'all doing, New York City? What y'all doing with all this money? Ticket, congestion price, the train, the bus, the tolls.
And
You
that's money
understand?
New
And
York
the,
is
and then the
in.
difference, yeah, is greedy. This is a G check for real. Y'all got to open your eyes and say to your Congress, your senators, and all this, Albany, stop being greedy and give to the needy. Sometimes that's why you always used to
DMX
see
line there.
exactly,
I think that was
exactly.
a
Shout out
quote
to the
from
X.
DMX.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you know, we need to open our eyes, and the people that is out here suffering from day to day. You know, paycheck used to say, our parents used to say, man, I work for the paycheck to paycheck. Now you work for nothing for nothing. That's what it looked like, and that's what it feel like. Ain't nobody, is nothing going on where nobody's happy. Why so much things is going on? Because nobody happy no more. Everybody frowning, say, how can I take care of my family?
Okay.
And you can't. That's a
So
G
now,
check.
okay, that's a G check, and that is valued points, and I think that's what a lot of New Yorkers is saying about Mom Dami. Now, Mom Dami is talking about, you know, uh, doing the rent freeze. He can't do that as mayor, so he's saying a lot of stuff that he would like to do, and he's a visionary. He's 33. He's young. He's vibrant. He's a visionary. He's a socialist. But in countries like Venezuela, in countries like Cuba, socialism doesn't work. And so now when we're saying get in the bread line, have city owned stores, and let people come and get the best rates, and everybody, because all of the millionaires, right, that you think that you
Mhm.
can take a piece of their money, including myself, that you think that you're going to take a piece of the money, is getting out of town, and you're not going to be able to do that. So how do you make this happen? So you want to make this happen with the smallest people making the smallest money, then it doesn't work. They've already proven that socialism doesn't work. And that's
what I'm saying is,
the free
you
stuff.
said,
I'm good with getting equal pay for a job. I'm good with that.
what you saying is not, it's been tried. Look at Cuba. Cuba is the cleanest island, the less the disease, all of that.
Yeah,
So
but they don't have any money.
yeah, well, you know what I mean? Me personally,
People
I'd rather be healthy than have paper. It's nothing but paper, a piece of paper. You could burn it and then you're not getting nothing.
Well,
But
it's supposed to be backed by
is
gold.
more important than a piece of paper.
Yes, your health is more important than a piece of paper.
Okay.
So again, cousin, do we say, okay, the people like ourselves who've decided to jump out here and take a run at entrepreneurship, you hit the jackpot, and now you hit the jackpot, you got to give up 70% of your income to make sure that other people have what you have?
Guess what? They hit the people that hit the jackpot for the lottery. Where's that money going?
What do you mean the people that hit to themselves?
The people that hit the lottery,
right?
They give them what they deserve, and then the government take a big cut of that.
Yeah.
So where's that money going?
They tax it. Yes,
where's that money going?
Yes,
that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
You are right. You were saying with the tax dollars, where do the tax dollars go? You were saying that the tax dollars need to be distributed better and need to be used for our, better for our lifestyles and everything like that.
So let me say this. They always say this a G check. Oh, we need to fix the roads. We need to do this for the trains. Yo, listen, I've been riding on a train since the 70s, 60s, 70s. Mm-hmm. And them trains from 241st to Dye Avenue looked the same when I was a kid. So at the end of the day, I could go to 2nd Avenue, the line they fix up look incredible. I could go to 34th Street, the line they fix up look incredible. But go to the ghetto, where they call the ghetto, it still looked the same when we was kids. So even the roads, all this money they've been saying, and then hold up, we don't even own paying these tolls. I heard, and allegedly, a Chinese company owned the toll company. So we paying all this money for what? It's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. And these are the things that we've got to think about. And this is why we have to stay very active in voting and everything that's going on. So with our last couple minutes, I just want to pull up a couple things. Jay-Z, okay, let me say this. Jay-Z, a judge dismissed the charges against the suit against Busby and Jay-Z out in California for the defamation suit that he brought to the table. Judge dismissed that. Now Jay-Z has to pay the lawyer fees for Busby, and he's talking about bringing a lot of lawyer fees to him, but Jay-Z lost that case. And all of this is going on. And then 10,000, I think that we just need to pay attention to what's happening in Philly right now. 10,000 workers in Philly went on strike, and there's no trash pickup, no 911 calls. They're not maintaining the pools. So everybody is talking about getting this money. And so we, again, in New York City, New Yorkers, we've got to think about who we're voting for in November, what we're going to hold this guy Mamdani to, who is the front runner. They're scrambling around trying to figure out how they can get Mayor Adams back in.
Well, let me say this. It's a G check. Everybody that get in office, everybody say they're gonna do right by us. Yes, sir. And other people, they don't do nothing. As soon as they get in that office, they good. They get the free ride. They get the security. They get the house. They get this. It's been going on for so long. Everybody talk what they gonna change for us, and they never change nothing at all. It's nothing but talk. Everybody that get in office talk. You know what I mean? They don't make changes. They make it harder and harder and harder. It got to come to a point where who we need to really understand, we need to create a law for these governors, these mayors, these Congress, these senators in the White House. It should be a law. Whatever you say you're going to do, if you don't do it, they quick to put us in a penitentiary. We need to have a court, not with somebody that look like us. Look like us that want to play this and that. We need to find somebody it's just straight up. I'm gonna burn you like you burn out people, and you burn the world. So all I'm saying is we got to get a law where we got to hold these people accountable.
I like it.
And that's a G check. And
super
one more thing.
check.
Shout out to LL Cool J and Eddie F. or Rock the Bells. They did a wonderful job with this. You know what I mean?
Pop is alive.
It was incredible.
Absolutely. Shout out to Rock the Bells, LL Rock the Bells Radio, Eddie F. in his special presentation. Cousin was on the stage rocking with him back in Mount Vernon.
Yes, sir. I had to rep for Heavy D and Troy. Troy, passed away. So I had to rep for them. Definitely.
Troy, yep. So shout out to all of them. Shout out to hip hop. Love seeing everybody and look forward to seeing everybody next week. That's your New American Perspective for today. That's your G check for the week. We will see you next week.
Happy 4th of July. That's a G check.
That's a G check, and we're signing out.